Hey Baker friends, it's Mrs. Herbay, and it's Fantasy Week. And this week we're going to be looking at all kinds of things that have to do with either dragons or castles, and we're going to be using our imaginations. And a lot of times when we think about drawing a castle, we think, oh, it's way too complicated, but I want to kind of show you that drawing a castle can be really easy if you start with some simple shapes and lines, and then depending on how complicated you want to get, you can continue to add more shapes and more lines. There's a little bug on our piece of paper. So the very first thing that we're going to do is, if you wanted to draw a thin, tall castle, you could put your paper vertically, or if you wanted to draw a shorter, wider castle, you could put your paper horizontally. Let's try for this example, let's try to put our paper vertically. And the other thing I want us to do is I want us to draw a line of horizon. And that's where the land meets the sky. So this is, on this line is where we're going to be building our castle. And so the first thing that I want us to do is we're going to start with a rectangle. And we're going to try to start in the middle, so we want to leave enough space on either side. So I'm going to come maybe down right about here, and then I'm going to come over about there. And there we go. And one thing that you guys know, all of you from kindergarten all the way up through 4th grade know that we practice a lot with our lines. And one of the lines that we've actually, that we've named is called the castle line. And that's the line where we go over, down, over, up, over, down, over, up. So it's horizontal, vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal, vertical. And so this is a line that is often used in castles. So a lot of times when you're drawing your castle, you can use that as a line. So this is the sort of entrance to the castle, and so there's also usually a very large opening, and sometimes it also even has a drawbridge associated with it that opens and then comes down to let people in. I just was kind of sketching a curve, and if you'll notice, I went a little too close over here, but that's okay. What I think I might do is just erase this side and go over a little bit further like that. So I have a fairly large opening to my castle, which is fine. If you wanted to, you could make yours smaller. It's totally up to you. So usually on either side of the entrance to the castle, then there are sort of two towers. And so those would be, you would draw 2 additional rectangles. So I'm going to, and again, you could make them wider or thinner depending on the style that you wanted. So I'm just going to go, for right now, I'm just going to do this. And then I'll just erase that little line that was in there. So there's one rectangle. And then I'm going to try to go up about the same height. So I'm just going to lightly kind of come across here. And then I'm going to come down. So there is my tower number 2. Now, sometimes on the tops of the castle towers, there are a triangular shape like that. Or sometimes there's a different, it's sort of like this, where it's a diagonal line like this, and then it's a vertical line like this, and then it has the same castle top on top. So horizontal, vertical, horizontal, vertical. So you can be the architect and you can decide whether you want to put this kind of a top on your first tower or whether you want to put this top. I think for fun, I'm going to put this kind of a top on the one that's right over here. So again, I'm just going to go diagonal, diagonal, and then vertical, vertical, and I'm about the same height as that, so that's good. And then I'm going to do my horizontal, vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal, and then I'm just going to take my time. There. Okay, so now I have this kind of nice entrance to my castle. Now I want to think about what's going to go behind, what's going to go on behind. So the first thing that we could do is we could add another building that goes in the middle here. So what I can do is I can draw a vertical line up here and then about the same distance I'm drawing another vertical line up here, and then I'm going to go across there. So this is a little bit higher than these. And again, what type of top? I think I'm going to put this same kind of top. So I'm going to do my same diagonal, diagonal, vertical, vertical. Okay. And then I'm just going to do okay. And there's the top on that. And then if we wanted to, we could make this even a little bit fancier by, oops, here I'm going to put another tower sort of behind this one. But on this one, I'm going to put the triangle like so. And there we have a good start to our castle. Now, the other thing that we can start to add is we could add other rectangles. So for example, I could come out here and then draw a line down there. Maybe there's another building that's a little bit over like that. Maybe there are some really tall, thin towers. So then I'm going to add, see like that. So if I put one there, then I'm going to put one over here. Whoops. And there you see I have a fairly cool looking castle. And I just used some basic shapes and lines. Now the other thing that we can do is to make the castle look like we are walking up to the castle is at the corner of this of this drawbridge or door here, we can put a diagonal line out here and then one out here. And what that's doing is as we go closer, the lines are getting closer together. So it gives us the illusion that we are walking back into the picture. Now we can start to add other details. So for example, maybe there are windows in these towers. So you can draw the windows. Maybe there are windows in these towers. So we can draw the windows. Maybe in this tower, maybe the style of window is more like that. So you can think about all the different details. Maybe there is several windows there. Maybe there are torches burning. There wasn't electricity back during the time of the castles. Another thing that we can think about is adding the stone to make it look like this is stone. And what you can do is, if we just draw some horizontal lines like this, across, and then what we'll do is now we're going to put our vertical lines. If you stagger them, then it looks kind of cool like that. And we could also add it on these as well. And then we'll do our vertical. And I'll just quickly finish that up. All right, so I've gone back and I have I added all of the stone details. Oh, except for I see up here I didn't put my vertical lines. I went ahead and added all of my stone details, and I added some of my the roof shingles, and then I added another line here, and then I also added these lines, these little curved lines in here on the windows, and it kind of makes it look a little bit more 3D. So once you have all of this drawn, then you can start to think about if you would like to add color. And if you happen to have a thin black marker, it would look really nice if you took the thin black marker and outlined your pencil lines. I happen to have, let's see, this one is pretty good. So you can then carefully go over your pencil lines with a thin black marker if you have it. If you don't have it, that's okay. You can also use your pencil to go back over your lines and to add some dark and light values. And I can show you what that looks like in 1 second. So that's if you happen to have the thin black marker. You can first go over the pencil lines, and then if you have either crayons or colored pencils or markers, then you can add colors to your castle. Oh, another thing that I forgot is you can also have flags flying from the top of the castle. You can draw lots of other details, like for example, in one of the other options for this week, there's how to draw a dragon, and maybe you want to have a dragon in the picture as well, or maybe you want to draw a knight or a princess, like in the story that you guys listened to called The Knight and the Dragon. But mostly this week is about fantasy, so whatever you can imagine, you can include in your picture. So I'm going to stop outlining, but you would continue to outline, and then depending on what type of colors or how you would like to color in your castle. This is an example. This was the pop-out castle from a different demonstration, but I just wanted to show you the colors. I chose different colors, not traditional colors of a castle. So you can choose to color your castle however which way you want. You can also add background details, maybe there's some trees here. So you can add those details, and maybe there's some there going that way. And if you wanted to, let's say you didn't have a thin black marker and you only had a pencil. What you could do is, to make this look interesting, you could go back over some of your pencil lines like this and make them nice and dark. And then it's kind of like you have, or you could even use a black ballpoint pen to make the stone stand out. And then if you wanted to, you could lightly color some of them in, and you don't even have to color all of them in, but if you can see how by just shading a little bit, how that even looks interesting. And you could shade, you could color this in here like that. And outline that. So whether you have markers, colored pencils, or crayons, or even just a pencil, you can really, if you spend a few minutes, you can really make your castle drawing look amazing. And here's the other cool thing. Once you just start with a few basic shapes, then you can just really kind of take off and add all kinds of other little details. So it's basically starting with this basic here, and then having in the middle, and then you can add all kinds of different towers behind the castle. And if you wanted to, you could make the castle even wider. If you just make this shape a little bit bigger first and then add these ones onto the ends. So I hope you have fun this week just experimenting around. I want you, my goal is that you have throughout these 9 weeks kind of learned from what I've demonstrated for you, and then I want you to be able to apply it kind of in your own way. And I've been so excited to see how so many of you have done that already. So I hope this is a really fun week of projects for you as we finish up the school year together. And as always, I can't wait for you to come and show me what you create.